Have you ever walked into a room and felt the atmosphere change, even though no one said a word? Have you ever wondered why someone who once seemed warm and supportive has suddenly become distant, cold, or quietly critical? After 60, many people begin to notice something they never expected. It's not just the aches of aging or the changes in the mirror. It's the painful realization that some people seem uncomfortable with your happiness, your wisdom, or simply the person you've become. But here's the surprising truth. Most of the resentment you experience has very little to do with you. It often begins inside someone else's fears, regrets, or insecurities. Today's video isn't about judging other people. It's about protecting your peace. It's about recognizing the hidden emotional dynamics that can quietly steal your confidence if you don't understand them. By the end of this video, you'll recognize the subtle signs of resentment, learn how emotionally healthy people respond to them, and discover why your greatest freedom after 60 comes from refusing to carry burdens that were never yours to begin with. Before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever felt misunderstood or unappreciated as you've grown older? Share your experience in the comments. Your story may encourage someone else who feels exactly the same way today. And if you're new to After 60 Life Wisdom, subscribe and join thousands of thoughtful people discovering how to age with wisdom, confidence, and inner peace. Every week, we explore timeless lessons that help make the years ahead some of the happiest of your life. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Their jealousy isn't about you. It's about what your life reminds them of. One of the hardest lessons to learn later in life is that not everyone celebrates your success. Some people silently resent it. Perhaps you've spent decades working diligently, saving carefully, nurturing your family, and protecting your health. You didn't become financially stable overnight. You sacrificed. You stayed disciplined. You endured setbacks that nobody else saw. Yet instead of feeling happy for you, some people become strangely uncomfortable around your achievements. Why? Because your life reminds them of the dreams they abandoned. Your peaceful marriage may remind someone of their painful divorce. Your close relationship with your children may quietly expose someone else's loneliness. Your healthy lifestyle may remind another person of choices they wish they had made years ago. Without saying a word, your life becomes a mirror, and mirrors can be uncomfortable. Many people mistake this discomfort as proof that they've somehow failed. So instead of confronting their own regrets, they unconsciously direct those emotions toward the person standing in front of them, toward you. This doesn't make them evil. It simply makes them human. The mistake many older adults make is believing they should hide their blessings to make other people feel comfortable. They stop talking about the vacation they enjoyed. They minimize their accomplishments. They apologize for their happiness. Little by little, they begin shrinking themselves. But ask yourself something. Why should a lifetime of sacrifice become something you feel guilty about? You didn't steal your peace. You earned it. One of the greatest gifts that comes with age is realizing you no longer need permission to enjoy the life you've built. That doesn't mean becoming arrogant. Humility and gratitude will always matter. But humility is very different from pretending your light doesn't exist. Your wisdom, your resilience, your quiet confidence. These are not things to hide. They're evidence of everything you've survived. The healthiest response to jealousy isn't anger. It's compassion mixed with healthy boundaries. Understand where the emotion comes from, but don't carry responsibility for fixing it. You cannot heal someone else's regrets by dimming your own life. Instead, invest your time in people who celebrate your victories without feeling threatened by them. Those relationships become increasingly precious after 60, because genuine friends don't compete with your happiness. They multiply it. So here's a question I'd love you to answer in the comments. Have you ever noticed someone becoming distant after your life started improving? What do you think was really happening? Your insight may help someone else understand an experience they've been struggling to make sense of. 2. Misunderstandings grow faster than we realize. Not every broken relationship begins with betrayal. Many begin with misunderstanding. As we grow older, communication becomes more complicated, not because we're less capable, but because the world around us changes. Many of us grew up believing honesty meant speaking directly. If we cared about someone, we told them the truth. Sometimes gently, sometimes bluntly, but always sincerely. Today's generations often communicate differently. Words carry different emotional weight. Advice may sound like criticism. Concern may be mistaken for control. Experience may be interpreted as judgment. Suddenly, a conversation that began with love ends with hurt feelings. It's heartbreaking when your intention is misunderstood. You wanted to protect someone. Instead, they felt attacked. You wanted to share wisdom. Instead, they believed you were criticizing their choices. These moments create invisible cracks. At first, they're tiny. A misunderstood sentence here, an awkward silence there, an unanswered phone call, a shorter conversation than usual. Over time, those small cracks become emotional walls. And before either person realizes it, the relationship feels distant. But here's something important to remember. Misunderstanding doesn't always mean the relationship is broken. Sometimes it's simply an invitation to communicate differently. Instead of immediately giving advice, try asking questions. What do you think? Can you help me understand your perspective? Tell me more. Those simple phrases communicate something powerful: respect. People become far more willing to hear your wisdom once they feel heard themselves. Likewise, if someone misunderstands your intentions, don't allow pride to keep the distance growing. Sometimes saying, "That's not what I meant. Let me explain," can save years of unnecessary pain. Real wisdom isn't measured by always being right. It's measured by knowing when connection matters more than winning an argument. Take a moment to think about your own life. Has there ever been a misunderstanding that changed a relationship you deeply valued? Share your thoughts below. Your story could remind someone that healing often begins with one honest conversation. Number 3, different values don't have to become divisions. Perhaps one of the greatest challenges after 60 is realizing the world no longer thinks exactly the way it once did. Values evolve, cultures change, generations see life through completely different experiences. Sometimes that difference feels enormous. You may value commitment. A younger person may value flexibility. You believe discipline builds character. They believe freedom encourages creativity. You treasure traditions. They embrace change. Neither perspective automatically makes someone right or wrong. They're simply different. The danger comes when differences become personal, when disagreement begins to feel like rejection. Many older adults quietly wonder, have the values I lived by become meaningless? The answer is no. Your experiences shaped your beliefs. Every hardship you endured, every sacrifice you made, every lesson life taught you became part of the person you are today. But younger generations are asking different questions because they are living different lives. Understanding that doesn't require abandoning your principles. It simply requires curiosity. Instead of asking, why don't they think like me? Try asking, what experiences taught them to see the world this way? That single shift transforms conflict into conversation. One of the most powerful ways to bridge generations isn't through debate, it's through storytelling. Facts may be forgotten, arguments may be resisted, but stories reach the heart. When you share the struggles that shaped your character, people begin to understand not just what you believe, but why you believe it. They may never completely agree, and that's perfectly okay. Mutual respect is far more valuable than forced agreement. After all, families don't stay together because everyone thinks the same. They stay together because love becomes stronger than disagreement. As we grow older, perhaps our greatest legacy isn't convincing younger generations to become copies of us. Perhaps it's showing them how people with different beliefs can still treat one another with kindness, dignity, and respect. Before we continue, I'd like to ask you one thoughtful question. What life lesson do you wish younger generations understood better? And what experience taught you that lesson? I'd genuinely love to read your answers in the comments. Your wisdom may become exactly what someone else needs today. The silent distance that grows between generations. Have you ever walked away from a conversation with your own child or grandchild, wondering, how did we end up misunderstanding each other so completely? You spoke from love. They heard criticism. You offered guidance. They felt judged. Perhaps you've experienced that painful silence after sharing advice you genuinely believed would help. You notice their smile fade, their replies become shorter, or they suddenly change the subject. Later, you replay every word in your mind, asking yourself what went wrong. Here's the difficult truth that many people over 60 eventually discover. Most family conflicts are not caused by a lack of love. They are caused by two generations speaking different emotional languages. And once you understand that difference, many relationships that seemed beyond repair can slowly begin to heal. Before we continue, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever felt that your advice was misunderstood, even though your heart was in the right place? Share your experience in the comments. Your story may comfort someone else who feels exactly the same. Harsher 2. Misunderstandings don't mean love is gone. Growing older gives us something priceless: experience. We've lived through financial hardship, heartbreak, illness, disappointment, and unexpected joy. Every lesson we've learned was earned the hard way. Naturally, when we see someone we love making what appears to be a mistake, our first instinct is to protect them. We warn them, we advise them, we tell them what we've learned, because that's what love has always looked like to us. But younger generations often experience those same words very differently. Where we hear concern, they hear control. Where we hear honesty, they hear criticism. Where we believe we're offering wisdom, they sometimes feel their independence is being questioned. Neither side intends to create distance. Yet somehow, distance appears anyway. Imagine a father who spent 40 years working tirelessly to provide for his family. His entire life taught him one lesson: hard work solves problems. So when his daughter tells him she's overwhelmed at work, he immediately begins offering practical solutions. Work harder, stay focused, don't quit. To him, these words represent encouragement. To her, they sound like someone who isn't listening to how exhausted she feels. Neither of them is wrong. They're simply speaking different emotional languages. And unless someone chooses to translate rather than defend, misunderstanding becomes inevitable. Time changes more than technology. Many older adults grew up in homes where emotions weren't discussed openly. Love was demonstrated through sacrifice, responsibility, providing, keeping promises. Words like, "I'm proud of you," or "I'm struggling emotionally" were often left unsaid. Today's younger generations were raised in a different world. They've learned to talk openly about feelings, mental health, personal boundaries, emotional validation. Neither approach is inherently better. They're simply products of different eras. The challenge begins when each generation assumes the other communicates incorrectly. In reality, both are communicating the only way they were ever taught. When advice feels like judgment, one of the hardest moments in later life is realizing that good intentions don't always produce good outcomes. You may say, "When I was your age," hoping to share experience. But before you finish the sentence, someone rolls their eyes, or changes the subject, or quietly withdraws. It hurts, because what you meant was, "I don't want you to suffer the way I did." Yet what they heard was, "You'll never understand because you're younger." That gap between intention and interpretation has damaged countless family relationships. Not because people stopped loving each other, but because they stopped feeling understood. Listening is sometimes more powerful than wisdom. One of life's greatest paradoxes is this: the older we become, the more wisdom we possess. Yet the greatest wisdom often requires speaking less. That doesn't mean your experiences are no longer valuable. Far from it. It means people absorb wisdom more easily when they first feel heard. Instead of immediately offering advice, try asking one gentle question. What has this experience been like for you? Or, what do you think would help most right now? Those simple questions accomplish something remarkable. They lower defenses. They invite trust. And once trust exists, people naturally become more open to guidance. Being right isn't always the goal. There comes a point in life when preserving a relationship becomes more important than winning an argument. Ask yourself honestly, would you rather prove your point or preserve someone's heart? Many older adults carry the burden of conversations they wish had ended differently. Not because they were wrong, but because they valued being understood more than understanding. One sentence spoken with patience can prevent years of emotional distance. One moment of humility can rebuild bridges that pride could never cross. The courage to clarify. Sometimes misunderstandings happen despite our best efforts. When that happens, don't let silence become permanent. A simple sentence can change everything. That's not what I meant. I'm sorry my words came across that way. Can I explain what I was really trying to say? Notice something important. Those words aren't admissions of failure. They're invitations back into connection. Pride closes doors. Humility quietly opens them. Your feelings matter too. Compassion should never be one-sided. While learning to understand younger generations is important, your feelings deserve understanding as well. If you feel ignored, say so gently. If you feel dismissed, express it calmly, not as an accusation, but as an invitation. You might say, sometimes I worry that my experiences no longer matter. Or, I miss having conversations where we truly listen to one another. Those words reveal vulnerability, and vulnerability often touches hearts in ways criticism never can. Every conversation leaves a legacy. When we think about legacy, we often imagine the homes we've built, the careers we've completed, or the money we leave behind. But perhaps our greatest legacy is much quieter. It's the way people remember feeling after talking with us. Did they feel safe, respected, encouraged, loved? Years from now, your children may forget the exact advice you gave. They may not remember every lesson, but they'll always remember how your presence made them feel. And that memory will shape generations long after you're gone. Communication has never been about perfect words. It's about choosing connection over correction, understanding over assumption, and love over pride. Because in the end, families aren't strengthened by always agreeing. They're strengthened by continuing to choose one another, even when understanding takes patience. And perhaps that's one of the greatest forms of wisdom that growing older can teach us. When different values begin to build invisible walls. Have you ever looked at someone you love, perhaps your own child or grandchild, and quietly wondered, when did we start seeing the world so differently? It can happen so gradually that we hardly notice. One day you're sharing a family dinner. The next, a simple conversation about work, parenting, faith, or responsibility turns unexpectedly tense. No one intended to argue. No one wanted conflict. Yet somehow, both sides leave feeling misunderstood. If you've experienced this, you're certainly not alone. One of the quietest challenges of growing older isn't losing your memory or your physical strength. It's discovering that the values which guided your entire life no longer seem obvious to the younger people you love, and that realization can be surprisingly painful. Before we continue, I'd love to ask you something. What value has guided your life more than any other? Was it honesty, hard work, faith, family, kindness? Share your answer in the comments. Your wisdom may inspire someone generations younger who happens to read it. 3. When two generations see the same world differently. Every generation is shaped by the world it inherited. The world that shaped you demanded sacrifice. Responsibilities came before personal comfort. Promises mattered. You worked first, rest came later. You learned that respect wasn't demanded. It was earned through consistency, loyalty, and perseverance. Those lessons became part of who you are, not because someone forced them upon you, but because life itself taught them. Today's younger generations have grown up in a world that often values something different. Flexibility over routine, personal fulfillment over obligation, mental well-being alongside achievement, individual expression over tradition. Neither perspective exists because one generation is wiser than the other. They exist because every generation solves the problems of its own time. The difficulty begins when we mistake difference for disrespect. Your values tell the story of your life. Think for a moment about the beliefs you hold most deeply. Perhaps you believe that marriage requires commitment through difficult seasons, that families should stand together, that hard work builds character, that keeping your word matters even when no one is watching. Those aren't simply opinions. They're chapters from your own life. Every hardship you've endured, every sacrifice you've made, every disappointment you've survived has strengthened those convictions. So when someone questions them, it doesn't feel like they're challenging an idea. It feels as though they're questioning your entire journey. That's why these conversations can become so emotional. They're never just debates. They're deeply personal. Why younger people sometimes see things differently. The younger generations are also carrying stories. Stories you've never lived. They've grown up during rapid technological change, economic uncertainty, social transformation, constant information, a world where opportunities and pressures arrive simultaneously. Naturally, they've developed different priorities. They often value balance over endless work, emotional health alongside financial success, questioning traditions instead of automatically accepting them. These perspectives may feel unfamiliar, sometimes even frustrating. But unfamiliar doesn't always mean wrong. It simply reflects a different road traveled. Curiosity builds bridges faster than judgment. One question has the power to transform almost any disagreement. Instead of asking, "Why would anyone think that?" try asking, "What experiences led you to believe that?" That single shift changes everything. Because people rarely defend themselves against genuine curiosity. They relax, they explain. And suddenly, you're no longer opponents trying to win an argument. You're two human beings sharing different life experiences. Understanding begins where assumptions end. Stories touch hearts more than opinions. Have you noticed something interesting? Facts may convince the mind, but stories reach the heart. Instead of saying, "Young people don't understand responsibility," tell the story of working your first job. Describe the sacrifices your parents made. Share what it felt like raising children while worrying about paying the bills. Those experiences reveal the why behind your beliefs. And once people understand your story, they're far more likely to respect your perspective. They may not agree with every conclusion, but they'll understand the journey that brought you there. And understanding often matters far more than agreement. Respect doesn't require agreement. One of the greatest gifts that comes with age is realizing something remarkably freeing. You don't have to convince everyone. You don't have to win every discussion. You don't have to prove your wisdom. Sometimes the greatest wisdom is allowing someone else to walk a different path. After all, didn't life teach you many lessons through experience rather than advice? Perhaps younger generations must do the same. Your role isn't to control their journey. It's to offer a light they may choose to follow, looking for common ground. Even when beliefs differ dramatically, shared values often remain surprisingly close. You may disagree about careers, but both of you value purpose. You may disagree about parenting, but both of you love your family. You may disagree about traditions, but both of you hope future generations will live meaningful lives. These shared hopes become bridges, and bridges are always stronger than walls. Leave behind wisdom, not winning arguments. As the years pass, something quietly changes. The need to be right becomes less important. The desire to stay connected becomes far more valuable. Imagine sitting with your grandchildren 20 years from now. Will they remember every opinion you expressed? Probably not. But they'll remember how safe they felt sharing their thoughts with you, whether they felt respected, whether they believed they could disagree without losing your love. That emotional safety becomes part of your legacy. Perhaps one of the greatest gifts we can leave behind isn't perfect advice. It's a relationship where future generations feel welcomed rather than judged. Growing older doesn't require abandoning your values. Those values were earned through decades of living. Honor them, protect them, live by them, but hold them with enough grace to recognize that other people are writing different stories. Their chapters won't look exactly like yours. And that's okay, because wisdom isn't measured by how many people agree with us. It's measured by how much peace we create wherever we go. The strongest families aren't the ones where everyone thinks alike. They're the ones where love remains stronger than disagreement. And perhaps that's one of the most beautiful lessons life teaches after 60. The quiet damage of gossip. Why protecting your peace matters more than protecting your reputation. Have you ever discovered that someone was talking about you behind your back, only to realize that people believed the story before they ever asked for your side? Few things hurt more deeply, not because strangers misunderstood you, but because the misunderstanding came from people you trusted, neighbors, old friends, even family. As we grow older, we often expect life to become quieter, more peaceful, less complicated. Yet one painful reality remains unchanged. People don't always stop gossiping with age. Sometimes they simply become better at hiding it, and unfortunately, the emotional damage can cut even deeper in our later years. Before we continue, I'd like to ask you something. Have you ever been hurt by a rumor or a false assumption that someone made about you? You don't have to share every detail if it's too personal. But if you're comfortable, tell us what happened in the comments. You may discover you're far from alone. Before, gossip often reveals more about others than about you. One of the hardest lessons life teaches is this. People rarely gossip because they know the truth. More often, they gossip because stories make them feel important. A rumor spreads quickly because certainty is exciting. Facts require patience. Assumptions travel much faster. Someone hears half of a conversation. Someone else adds their own interpretation. Before long, the story no longer resembles reality. And suddenly, people begin responding to a version of you that has never truly existed. Perhaps someone says you've become distant, when in reality, you've simply been caring for your health. Perhaps people whisper that you've become selfish, when all you've done is finally learn to say no. Or maybe they assume your financial stability came easily, never seeing the decades of sacrifice, overtime, sleepless nights, and difficult choices that built it. People often judge the chapter they can see without ever reading the pages that came before. Why gossip hurts more as we age? When we're young, we usually have endless opportunities to build new friendships, meet new people, start fresh. But later in life, our circle naturally becomes smaller. The relationships we keep become more precious. That's why betrayal feels heavier. When someone you've laughed with for years suddenly believes a rumor instead of asking you directly, it doesn't just wound your reputation, it wounds your heart. You begin asking difficult questions. Did they ever truly know me? Were we really as close as I believed? Those questions can linger long after the rumor itself disappears. Most rumors begin with someone else's unhappiness. Here's something worth remembering whenever gossip finds its way into your life. Happy people rarely spend their time tearing others down. People who feel fulfilled usually celebrate the success of others. But individuals carrying unresolved disappointment, loneliness, regret, or insecurity sometimes look outward instead of inward. Discussing someone else's life temporarily distracts them from confronting their own. That doesn't excuse the behavior, but understanding where it comes from helps keep you from carrying unnecessary bitterness. Because resentment is heavy, and after 60, peace becomes far too valuable to sacrifice. You don't need to attend every argument you're invited to. When false stories begin circulating, our first instinct is often to defend ourselves, to explain, to prove, to convince. It's understandable. After all, no one enjoys being misunderstood. But over the years, many wise people discover something freeing. Not every accusation deserves a response. Not every rumor deserves your energy. Sometimes silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because there are people who aren't searching for truth, they're searching for drama. And no explanation will ever satisfy someone who has already decided what they want to believe. Protect your peace before you protect your pride. Your emotional health matters far more than winning public approval. Let your character speak longer than their words. Reputations can change overnight. Character takes a lifetime to build. Think about the people who truly know you, the ones who've watched you care for your family. Keep your promises. Show kindness when no one was watching. Stand beside others during difficult seasons. Those people won't be easily persuaded by whispers because they've witnessed something stronger than gossip. They've witnessed your life. Eventually, consistent character becomes louder than temporary rumors. Truth may walk slowly, but it almost always arrives. Respond calmly. If a response is even needed, there may be moments when clarification is necessary. If someone approaches you sincerely, answer honestly, calmly, without anger. You might simply say, "I understand why you heard that, but it isn't true," or "I appreciate you asking me directly." Notice the difference. There's no bitterness, no attack, just quiet confidence. People often remember the way you respond far longer than the accusation itself. Grace has remarkable power. Be careful not to become what hurt you. Pain has an unfortunate habit. If we're not careful, we pass it along. Someone spreads a rumor about us. Soon we're tempted to speak negatively about someone else. The cycle continues, but wisdom interrupts the cycle. Instead of asking, "How do I get even?" ask yourself, "What kind of person do I want to become because of this experience?" One path creates more conflict. The other creates peace. Only one of those paths allows you to sleep well at night. Choose relationships that nourish your spirit. One unexpected blessing of growing older is learning that quality matters far more than quantity. You don't need dozens of people who know your name. You need a handful who know your heart. The friends who ask before assuming. The neighbors who defend you when you're absent. The family members who believe your character over someone else's opinion. Those are the relationships worth protecting. Those are the people who become home. Life is simply too short to spend it chasing every rumor or correcting every misunderstanding. Your peace is worth more than public approval. Your integrity is worth more than popularity. And your time is far too precious to waste convincing people who have already chosen not to understand. So continue living with kindness. Continue treating people with dignity. Continue becoming the person you've worked your entire life to become. Because eventually, gossip fades, rumors disappear, whispers are forgotten. But character remains. And long after the voices grow quiet, people won't remember every story they heard about you. They'll remember how you lived. They'll remember your kindness, your integrity, your quiet strength. And in the end, that is the only reputation that truly matters.